Think money alone fuels change? Think again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RAD Solutions Lab. This is going to be a mini series where we're going to be presenting ideas and solutions that are going to, of course, spark change and at the same time strengthen the power, the efficacy, and the efficiency of the social impact sector. In true radical partners fashion, we are never going to do things alone. So, to join this first conversation, I have my friend, mentor, mentee, colleague, Sandra Bermudez on the other side of the screen. Hi, Sandra.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. In case you're wondering, my name is Joane Godoy. I am the proud CEO of Radical Partners. And what we basically do is invest in leaders like Sandra. So I'm going to start passing it to her because if I get to summarize it, Sandra is a powerful lady who is on this mission of making sure that every single kid or youth has access to literacy efforts and basically is as expert at reading. And for that, she also invests in educators to make sure that they are the ones that are teaching kids how to read. But that's me butchering the language. Sandra, tell us, what do you do as the executive director of the Lucy Project?
Well, I'm the executive director. I'm the CEO, so I pretty much do everything from moving
Mhm.
boxes to programs to planning to everything. We're still a small organization. But what the Lucy Project does is we teach children how to read and we teach teachers how to teach better.
And you do that mostly in Miami, correct?
Yes, our emphasis is definitely Miami-Dade County, but we do support other counties and some other cities, mainly families in other cities.
For those who are watching, basically investing in folks like Sandra is what we do through something that we call capacity building, right? So, why these conversations and why now? I will quickly share that Radical Partners kind of has a lifetime of investing in the capacity in leaders like Sandra. And in the last few years, we finally saw an increase in capacity building programs for leaders like Sandra so that they could basically improve their skills, their resources, their processes to do more of the change making that they do on a daily basis. But in the last few months, we actually saw um, somewhat of a stop or somewhat of a pause in investing in capacity building, right? Because in times of crisis, we oftentimes think, oh, leaders need to figure it out on their own. And we don't necessarily invest in their capacities for the future, right? So that's why we are here, because in moments like this, we truly think that we not only need to continue investing in the capacity building of change making organizations, but increasing the efforts and moving smartly around them. So we use this term, Sandra, on like very often and very constant in our world, but a lot of people don't even know what capacity building is. So, in your own words, what is it and why does it matter?
Okay, capacity building is really hard to explain, but it's like at the same time so basic. Capacity building is what is between I have an idea and an organization that actually moves that idea forward effectively. And that looks like many different things. It could be a financial investment, it could be access to power, it could be teaching someone how to do things. One of the first things that comes to mind is when I applied to Radical Partners to do one of the classes, I didn't get in the first one. Basically, I was told, "You're not ready." And I said, "Okay, watch me. I'm going to get ready." So even that no was kind of positive. And then when I did get in, one of the first things that I noticed and I realized and I appreciated is that when we were doing our intros, there was a photographer that were taking pictures on like social media, whatever. But then the next week when we showed up at class, pictures of us were in the books where we're gonna learn. For me, it made me realize that I belonged at the table, that I deserved to be heard and to talk about what I care. It emboldened me and it made me it told me you belong at the table. So that can be capacity building too. It's giving the tools, the resources, the love, the care, holding hands sometimes, whatever it takes to get that person to the next level so they can serve in a better, stronger, more effective way.
Mhm. I love how you basically included so many things, right? Because oftentimes we could think, oh, capacity building is someone teaching someone how to budget, right? Or how to fundraise. And yes, there's a little bit of that technical and practical skills and resources that you need to acquire. But in our work, it's also like, how are you projecting yourself as a leader? How are you sharing your story as a leader? And most importantly, how are you managing your team, whether that's a team of volunteers, of board members, or actually team members, right? And we did a little bit of all of that through the social entrepreneurship bootcamp with you.
A little lot. Like, we touched everything, and from everything I learned, and honestly, I wish I could take the same class again because we're at a different level, so I would do things in a different way. But it's
Thank you,
investing
Sandra.
in us. It's making us give time to ourselves so we can level up.
Mhm. I'm curious to hear how you think any of those capacity building programs have actually impacted your work, right? Because that's what we oftentimes struggle to understand. Like, how can a class or how can investing in Sandra is going to trickle down all the way to the students that you're benefiting?
Obviously, it's a game changer. And think about it just from that little tidbit when you included us, the people that were learning, as part of the process. It's something I strive to do with my team too, with my staff. I want them to lead. I let them lead. I encourage them to make their choices and push forward. So even in small ways like that, but also the class with Radical Partners was amazing. It gave me the time to invest because otherwise I'm just doing. There's other great classes, the CBO program with the children's stress, which has been wonderful and gives you access to experts in different things. So this year was the first year we got an audit. And I was like, how do we do this? So they put us in touch with someone that would help us get organized. They allowed us to give us the time and the resources to put all that paperwork together. And now, we have a clean audit and we're ready for next year. It helps in every
Amazing.
single way. It's when someone believes in you. Does this count as capacity building? As far as I'm concerned, I think it does, but we had received a very big grant for our organization, but it was all reimbursable and we couldn't carry it forward. Like when they asked me, can you do it? I said, of course, of course. And then I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? And I reached out to the Miami Foundation and they found a way to support us to get us to the other side. That's capacity building too, I would argue.
Yeah, because it's like, how do we enable you, the leader, and your organization to keep doing the amazing work that you are doing, right? Which brings me to, how do we do more of this and how do we build stronger capacity and faster as well, right? So, in our world, it is definitely known that we're fundraising all the time. Um, and I want us to imagine, like, what would happen if you are in a room full of funders that are willing to invest in the Lucy Project and all the kids that you are supporting? What would you tell them to encourage them to not only invest in your programs, but also in the capacity of your leadership and your team?
What I would tell them is what you asked me before. So what do you do with the Lucy Project? I do everything. I even carry boxes. If you are going to invest in an organization, I think it would be to everyone's benefit if I wasn't carrying the boxes and actually could focus on doing my job. So right now we've had two new programs launch and we're super excited. But it came to a point where I need a COO. I can't possibly work 12, 14 hours every day and get everything done. So come to our organization, come to our office, see how we live one on top of each other, and we're making the best we can with what we have. But if you don't help me invest in a COO, I'm not going to be able to deliver strong programs, and we're not going to get the results that our city and our children deserve.
You're watching Radical Solutions Lab. Stick around, there's a lot more ahead. At Radical Partners, we exist to accelerate social impact. So earlier this year, we decided to pause, go back to the leaders and the organizations that we invest in, and ask them, what do you need and want right now to continue doing your change making work? Through this series, we are going to be sharing some of those ideas and solutions that emerge from that conversation, which are not only going to strengthen communities, strengthen the leaders transforming those communities, but also transforming the way we do work in the social impact sector. So we want you to join the conversation on LinkedIn and YouTube. You will get access to these ideas and solutions. And most importantly, you'll have the opportunity to also share yours so that we can do more, better, faster together. And we are back with Radical Solutions Lab. Sandra, as I shared earlier in this conversation, we saw an increase in capacity building investment, finally and luckily, in the last few years. And it came to the point where some of our alumni were moved from being grateful for all these capacity building programs to, okay, now it's a little too much, right? And I need to be studying and attending things all the time. So there's definitely a few considerations that we should have as capacity builders and as folks that are funding capacity building. So what would you tell us? What would you tell those investing in capacity to consider and be mindful of as they decide to invest in that work?
I think it's about grace once again.
Hmm.
Like, I wanna go to everything I'm invited, but I also have a husband, a daughter, my plants. I need
Hmm.
some time down, and I can't attend everything that I wish I could. We're all doing the best we can, and I try to support all the organizations support us, and I know you deserve it, but there's only so much I can do.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Sandra. I have to confess that I didn't know I was going to get so emotional on this conversation, but I really liked how um, the like basically the integrity and integrality of your conversation, right? So my takeaway is there's definitely a need and a desire to invest in capacity building. Um, and a reminder that capacity building is not only teaching the skill, but it's also equipping the organizations with the resources that they need in order to do the work. And at the same time, consider the humans that are doing the work, right? So, yes, learning, yes, equipping, and yes, to being graceful and considering the whole human that is doing this work and that is choosing to invest their time, passion, and energy in changing the world.
And and there's one more thing I'd like to add, which is, I guess, respect, but I feel like we get that a lot, much
Mhm.
more lately. I do feel as a partner, like many of my friends are thought partners. They're helping me think things through. I can feel comfortable calling to ask them, "Hey, I want to do this. Who do you think I should invite, or how can I do this?" And they'll help me. And those relationships are real, and I think that's a game changer.
And it's definitely one of the most beautiful things in our sector that we don't want uh, to remove or to shy away from, but actually enhance it and show the world how we can be effective and efficient while also being loving, respectful, graceful, and caring. So, thank you so much for bringing that to the table and giving us time this morning to learn more about capacity building and what it looks like for amazing leaders like you.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for leading and for teaching me and guiding me, and always take my calls when I'm like, "How am I supposed to do this?"
That is capacity building too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandra. And to you, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and to any of our social media channels to watch the following episodes or just for more content like this. And most importantly, be sure to share and to comment because in the end, this is a lab and we want to hear your ideas on what we can do together and who we can play with.